one other video. Where's it gone? No! There we go. Hi everyone, it's Mr. Chris from Diary of a Lincoln Geek. Welcome to the show, Let's Talk Board Games, the board game show that everyone's talking about. Let's face it, we have the live show, we have the podcast, we have so much, it's amazing. But if you aren't already following us, then head over to the website, which is DOALG.co.uk, go to YouTube and hit that all-important notification icon so you know when we're doing our future shows. So we're going to be chatting with No Box Games today. Yeah, that's right, Chris Backe, Roque Deleon and Kristian Fosh are the guys behind the new game Spies, a print and play that's going to be coming to Kickstarter very soon. So get your questions ready, go grab a drink, maybe even grab a snack, and sit back and relax. Enjoy the show as we let's talk board games. Hey there, Internet. Hey, it's nice to be back. Wow, well, crazy day. It's been a busy day, I'll tell you that for a start. But I'm here with some amazing guests, and I'm really excited to be chatting with Chris, Kristian, and Roque from No Box Games about their new game that's going to be coming very soon. But we'll go more into that. How are you all?
Hello, doing great.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah,
doing good here? Mm-hmm.
Same for me, doing good. Just busy.
Yeah. No, we were just talking before we went live, and everyone's extremely busy. There's never a bad thing.
I mean, this is one fun thing about Essen. Obviously, there's all the planning that goes into Essen. As a designer, pitching games, there's the 4 frantic, massive days of the con itself, and then there's the following of it all. Following up, there's print in place to send off, there's physical prototypes to send off, there's good times you want to relive, and then there's pictures, and you can live vicariously through the vloggers and the streamers. So tons and tons of stuff to go with that.
It's a great time, and I think a lot of people who will be watching right now will either have been, if they've not been to Essen Spiel, I've heard of it and know about it. And let's face it, we were gutted that we couldn't be there. So I'm glad someone got to go there, Chris. So we'll talk about that later. So we're streaming live across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and of course TikTok. If you are watching and enjoying the show, please hit that all-important like button. Share the channel because without you guys, we don't grow, and that's all we want to do. We want to reach more people. As we're going through the show, we will hopefully have your questions up on screen. If you are on TikTok, I will try and get to you, but I've got multiple screens and lots of stuff. And TikTok's one that doesn't come into the feed on StreamYard. So please be patient with me, folks, and I will try and get around to you all. We've got several people all kind of yelling out on TikTok. Hello, it's nice to see you. Ask your questions. The guys are all here to talk about print and plays, and that's what you're doing. It's I've seen some interesting topics going on Facebook, and topics are just recently about print and plays, and we have obviously spoken and had you on the show before, Chris. But tell us about your project so people out there on internet land know about your project.
Sure. So this is No Box Games. The first game is called Spies. We'll get to that in a little while. But basically, I love making games and I love getting them to the table as quickly as we can. You know, we look at manufacturing and distribution and shipping as these things that just take a ton of time. They take a ton of effort to do, and obviously to do well. And that's why you often need like the big publishing house and all these people to make sure all of these different things happen. And there is just this new model now with the printed home game. You make some amazing art, you get it on Kickstarter, you do a short campaign, just a couple weeks in our case. And once the campaign's over, Kickstarter charges the cards. We deliver the files, the next day even. And then people get it into their hands. So they're not waiting a year and a half or 2 years for a game, or
Exactly.
like the game is $40 and then the shipping is $60. So it's all about getting simple, amazing, fun games into people's hands as quickly as we can.
And exactly, and I think that's one of the things that I was saying online myself. Someone was saying, I can't remember who, and I'm not mentioning names because I can't remember everyone. But some people were saying, "Oh, but why am I paying for it?" Well, you're paying because you've got people like yourselves. We've got the guy that does the marketing, we've got the guy in the other corner who does the graphics, and we've got the guy that comes up with the idea in the first place. We're all over the place.
Exactly.
And people coming together and making something and doing what you do takes time and effort. And that's what I say to people. I say that, and I say that's what you're paying for. And the fact that you can have it literally days after, there's going to be a massive, complete, delivery.
Exactly.
Done really quickly.
And one thing that I'm also trying to kind of mention here, it's not just, so we think of a print and play game sometimes as like the free teaser of the real game. It's the big game that you pick up, but the print and play is like the free teaser, the black and white version, whatever. And when we say a printed home game, we're talking about the full game. This is 1 page per player, and this is replayable. You can laminate them if you want, but the whole game fits on this one sheet, or this very small number of sheets per player for future games. And you're not just buying a print and play, you're buying a full-fledged printed home game. And this has a lot of other things to talk about here. So, but yeah.
And there it is on screen. It's Spies, 2 to 6 players. 20 to 30 minutes is never a bad thing. Nice, quick games is what I like sometimes, because we call them kind of an amuse-bouche type game. Small bite-sized game that builds you into maybe a larger games night.
Exactly.
And up to 8 players. Wow. Sorry, 8
and up.
8 and up, ages 8 and up. Oh, that's nice and easy as well. That's great.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, we've capped it at 6 only because that's what we've play tested it up to. It might actually work at 8 players because you're only really caring about the player on your left, and by definition, the player on your right cares about you. So you could have a whole big circle. It would just be a bit more downtime between turns as each person asks their one question around. So it might go up to 8 for all we know.
Yeah. No, that's fair dues. And of course, like I touched on it a moment ago. Roque, you've been in charge on the marketing on this one, aren't you? And preparation with regards to the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, honestly, a lot of those duties have been shared between us. I think Chris said it earlier before we actually started, but it's like between us three, we probably, with the way our time is divided at the moment, us 3 people probably make up like 1 person worth of work. So definitely,
it feels like that. Yeah, we've just about got like one between the 3 of us. There's just enough to actually make a game and get it out there, and all the way through. I mean, we're in 3 different countries, 3 quite different time zones, particularly with Rogue, and it's like, we've achieved something that feels really amazing. Good. So I mean, whatever happens from here, we've seen something through. It's been let's see if I can point the right directions here. It's been designed, it's been arted, and it's been marketed, but at the same time, we've worked together. We've shared ideas. concepts, from what we
it's
originally
incredible.
had. It's come together. And the other thing with these print and plays and everything as well is that they can be really experimental. They're really simple. They're quick, and we've created a game in a matter of months. From obviously, this is sort of towards the end of what Chris developed, and we've got something together in a time that is awesome.
Exactly.
So it's great that we've come into.
And we've had a really good comment on Facebook from Joe Paul. So he says, one of the big draws for me is the environmental impact that print and plays avoid. No shipping, likely no plastic being used, reuse parts from other games. What methods did you use to maximize how environmentally friendly your games are?
I'll go ahead and take part of that, and Roque, if you want to chime in afterwards. The simple thing here is there's no manufacturing in China. There's no shipping of anything. All you're doing is taking a digital file you'll receive and print it off as you like. At the end of the day, you can recycle your paper, or if you want, you can laminate your sheets and then use your dry erase markers to use the same thing over and over again as you like. And with this game, at least, there's no other parts, period. So it's just your sheet of paper, a pen, or a dry erase marker, and you're done. That's all you need.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's something so simple like that. And I actually thought of that when I was looking at some of the graphics that you sent over. I looked at this and I immediately thought myself, it said, yes, you could laminate this and make it, and also the advantage is you can make it as fancy or as deluxe as you wish, because you're the person that's going to be producing this.
Exactly.
I myself, I will print this out on my professional, photographic high-res printer and then laminate it because it looks great. The art's lovely.
Exactly.
And I'm looked at some of these other elements that are here, because this is the shield, isn't it? This is the folded half shield that it stands at the end of the board.
Exactly, and that part's entirely optional. If you want to print the second sheet off, that's great. But this part's just got a great little reference card for all the stuff you'll want to know as you play. This is all stuff in the rules, of course, but having it obvious there right in front of you makes it a lot easier as well. So yeah, the shields are the sort of thing you can print this. You can put it on cardboard. One of my friends uses some little Titans, some little card holders to keep the shield in place. So there's lots of different ways to use this material to kind of make it your way.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these elements. So this is the one of the character sheets. I'm sorry, it's kind of obscuring all our faces because I didn't realize it did a transferable graphic. So if you don't want to be obscured, just hit the stop cam button.
Stop!
You'll still be in the chat. But like I say, the artwork's really nice. I love the look and theme of this. We'll talk more about the specifics of that in a moment. There, Christian is poking out from the side. But one thing I noticed in the pack that you sent over, we're all peeking around this now.
No, I love it.
Yeah, I do. It's great.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
One of the things that I really picked up on with the pack that you sent over was you've got different versions of the graphics for people who don't want to print in color. So you've got a black and white one, you've got a grayscale one, you've got, I was like, that's a nice touch because not everyone has the ability to print in full color.
Exactly.
So you've even made it.
And it's also, again, like when we're talking about environmental impact, the fact is that we've got the low ink version, and it's pure just the outlines of the assets. So it plays the game, but it's a simple print. It also means that if you're, for example, one of the things that was also mentioned that we sort of that I was thinking about earlier was that it's also gaming on demand, print and play. So wherever you are, you can get this. So for example, friends of mine, they print out a few sheets, like when they're planning like to go out with the family, they've got kids or whatever, and they know they'll have the time to wait for the food to arrive, and it's
Exactly.
it's you can take a few sheets in your bag or whatever, put them out, and the low ink version we found also doubles as like a coloring page. So even if you're
Nice.
playing it, you can color the characters in or whatever.
With a
and that's like,
19-month-old daughter, I thought the exact same thing.
yeah, well, that's it. I've got a 10 and now 8-year-old, and yeah, exactly. So it's like, and that sort of thing. But and it's like, you're at work, you're at school, and that sort of things. You could quickly, times when you may not have the best printers on hand, or you don't want to, risk or pay for a full color, and you can just have these out.
Exactly. And so one of my other goals with just this concept, this format, was I'm picturing you're about to have the game night, you want to present something new to start the night off, something simple. It's 5 minutes till your friends get here. Just print it out on demand at home, grab a literal handful of components or less, and you're ready to go. And it's also, if you've ever played a game with a newer gamer and you sit down, you just plunk down this big box and you go chunk, and they all go, "What's about to happen here?" You set one.
I've got many.
Exactly. So you
Yep,
set this one
yep.
sheet of paper in front of them, and they go, "Huh." It's hard to be intimidated by a single sheet of paper, right?
Yeah, you're like, wow, what am I about to do, a D&D session or something? Because you've handed me a piece of paper. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, I mentioned earlier, you can go all out on this. I've seen people, do print and plays, put together a print and play, and they've gone all deluxe. They've printed it on quality photographic paper, cut it out, mount it on cardboard, and made some really nice little versions of the games. And I'd love to see what people did with your print and play. I really would. Yeah. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, one of my hopes is as we spread this around the print and play communities, I'm really looking forward to seeing the pictures of their builds and how they choose to build it out.
Yeah, I really do. Should be really good.
One other thing I've seen real quick was the it's like, instead of laminating it, and I just saw this in a group, I can't remember exactly who posted it, but I'm sure other people saw it. But it was like, instead of laminating the sheet, it was like putting the paper into like one of those, it's like a clear thing that you would like have in a binder or whatever.
Oh, plastic wallet.
Yeah. And like putting it in that and then marking over that. And it's like, that's like a, because laminating something is like, you either might not have that ability to do it at home, or like you might not want to go to a place. And just being able to do it just like that.
And it has
this is the camera's backwards here. Basically, I got these on Amazon, and they're called like A4 ticket holders. So you can just slide in a page of paper inside. I've also got a piece of cardboard in here, so you have just the permanence of paper without the need of laminating it.
Now, I want to go back to a comment you made earlier, because it's very true, and it sits in my mind a lot when I hear of print and plays. And this is the one thing that I love about what it is that you guys are trying to do with your kind of mission statement, is the fact that print and plays are that little bonus that someone gets at the low end of a Kickstarter. They can get early access to the print and play to tease you with something, and that's all fair, well and good, but I feel that kind of taints print and play to a degree, because it's been thought of as that plucky little bonus that people think they need to add on, and it's not, because let's face it, they make sense.
Yeah, and I would say, and print and play games, they're amazing. They've been around for 15, 20, 50 years now. And what a lot of them do really well is, they're very cheap. And a lot of times they're also kind of sold as the chance to try out the game before buying the big game. It's a sampler. It's part of the process to kind of pick it up. Obviously, of course, video reviewers and getting into the game store or hearing friends talk about it, they all have a place, but having that chance to print it off, have a small version of the game to see for yourself. I think this is just the next evolution of it, getting to see a lot of the benefits of the print and play, pair it with some great art, make sure the gameplay runs smoothly, make sure it's a full gaming experience in and of itself.
Yeah.
And we keep the same price. It's a Starbucks cup of coffee.
Exactly. And it just makes the whole question of availability. It's there for everyone. You're not just limiting it to a set amount of people, because let's face it, with the shipping crisis, the cost of living we're seeing, it means that what could have been a maybe £30 board game, a lot less, because
Exactly.
you can manufacture it yourself to the lowest level of manufacture that you want.
Exactly.
You don't have to just go all out.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of Kickstarters now, it'll be like the $40 game with the $60 shipping, and that's only if you're in certain countries. If you're in some countries around the world, some people will understandably and logically just not ship there.
Yeah.
So with this being a printed home game, it's anywhere in the world. It's safe to say we can ship this anywhere in the world, and maybe one of the running jokes we'll have to say is $4 plus free shipping.
No, I love that.
Or our all-in price is $4 or something like that.
It's crazy,
just to take these Kickstarter things and kind of riff off of them. But this is going to be available to anyone in the world. I would love to have someone in Antarctica playing this game, just because shipping
that would be amazing.
No, you can't get a Kickstarter game down there. Now you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, if anyone's watching on TikTok or on Rewatch or on the stream, because we've got 60 viewers on TikTok at the moment, and we've got half a dozen online at the moment. If you're in Antarctica or someone in Antarctica, get them to play the game and send us the footage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that would be
just
amazing.
open the door, see like the -50 outside, then close it, start marking your stuff. Loser has to go outside barefoot or something. I don't know. Don't do that. Don't try this.
No, don't do that. You'll lose a foot. So of course the game in question. Let's give people a bit more juice about the game, because you've all had a hand in the theme. Because let's face it, from a marketing, from a visual perspective, from a design, it looks great. I love the concept of it, but tell us about Spies. Come on.
Sure. So Spies is a hidden movement and deduction game for 2 to 6 players. Takes 20-30 minutes to play for ages 8 and up. You're all spies. You have infiltrated the ambassador's mansion, and you've got the tip that you're not the only spy in the building. So in the game, you're going to start tracking the player to your left. That's the spy. You want to figure out where they go and what they do. Each turn, you'll move around the mansion. You'll choose to complete or sabotage the mission, and then you'll get to ask your target a question that they'll have to answer truthfully. And you're going to use this question to track where they are, where they've been. And at the end of the game, you'll also get this nice fun moment where you ask them, are you in, dun, 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 the greenhouse or the master bedroom or whatever? And the closer you are to where they ended up, the more points you'll score. You'll also score more points if you correctly sabotaged the missions that they completed. Tally up your points, and the most points wins. So you're doing all your hidden movement and all your tracking on your own sheet of paper. At the end of the game, you'll compare your notes with where your target went, and that's how you'll count up your points.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds so much fun. It's very whimsical, and with the visuals that Kristian's created, it really does set the scene. I like the sound of this a lot. Yeah, it's got some nice little crossovers with your kind of classic hidden movement type stuff.
Yeah, whenever the first version of the file that Chris had, I think I posted this in the Facebook group, but it was where it started, and even that was probably a little bit of an upgraded version, but it was that first file, and then to Kristian's kind of the final, maybe it wasn't even the final at the time, but the version that had all the illustrations on it, and it's so it's just cool to see that, right? It's oh, this is kind of how it started, and just very plain graphics, and to where it's gone with all the illustrations and everything, which really adds a lot. That was something that obviously Kristian just killed it with that, with all the illustrations, really gave it that, like, the theme that we were going for with everything. So I love the way that turned out.
Well, that's very kind of you to say and everything. I think, I mean, I think nothing comes from just one person. I think, and you know, it was great to have such a responsive team to work with, because I think, you know, I think a lot of us, you know, a lot of designers and artists and developers and marketers, you know, we've all tried to collaborate before. And often you'll find things that they'll just disappear, or people, you know, life gets in the way and all that sort of thing. And what was great for me was that, first of all, that Chris, when he came to us with the idea, Chris essentially created what has become No Box Games, and it's sort of, it was really great that from sort of the start I was able to just sort of like come up with ideas, because often someone who's created something or designed something, they'll have obviously first of all an idea in their mind of how it would look, and they can be very precious about it, rightfully so. You know, they put a lot of heart and soul into it. You know, gaming is all about passion, and you know, if you're going to create something, then you need to believe in it. And it was great to sort of be able to say, well, you know, maybe we could change this, or we could add in that, and that sort of thing. I mean, as much as I love the characters that we've made, they are purely eye candy. But so it was a case of, like, you know, from a designing point of view, it's like, well, why do we need characters? It's like, well, I really like drawing characters. So it was like, let's put them in. It's fun.
Yeah,
let's have it. So,
and you have
you know.
such a fun style with your characters too. They come alive in this classic, iconic sort of way, and they're not strictly necessary, but I still love them. Yeah. So this is on the left.
Well, there you go.
This,
Before and after.
yeah. So yeah. So this is on the left. This is what the initial prototype that I tested. Basically, it's near final version before Christian got his hands on it.
Wow.
And then
look at the changes.
I know, right? So, I mean, all the stuff is still there. It's just, yeah, one of the biggest changes I had was really just to go from taking the stuff that is now on the shield, and being able to remove that block of text makes the game look a lot more approachable. It opens the space for some notes and gives you the space for kind of the rest of the story here.
Yeah, and another thing with the characters is, like, I mean, I guess that was at least an idea that we played around with, of like, okay, if we're going to have these characters, maybe like character powers or something. So that's not in the game at this moment, but could it be? I don't know. That's maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I like seeing development changes, you know, from how things kind of started to where they are now. You know, if I think about the same thing regarding the game that I've been working on, I think Crikey or Right Almighty. And the thing is that things are changing again, because I'm having illustration done at the moment for it. So yeah, it's incredible seeing that journey, isn't it? And those changes as they're in, and seeing them evolve. It's fun. It's a nice touch.
Yeah, and it's also something that I think as well will play into the print and play market, which I do think will grow over the next coming years. I mean, hopefully shipping will return to perhaps who knows what will happen there, but the fact is that the PNP opens up a different style of gaming, and it also is it's kind of, yeah, like it's almost digital board gaming in this sense that, you know, if but there's only so much that we can test, and we can ideas come up with them, much like Rogue was saying, like have spies with skills and that sort of thing. And in the hope of creating a community throughout Kickstarter and to involve their ideas means that we can update our files, and it'd be a case of, and all you'd be doing is like, oh well, we've come up with a new idea. You just print out another sheet, another A4 sheet, nothing more than that. And it's not like we have to reprint something, or there's a spelling mistake. You know,
a massive FAQ because, you know, you've found all these changes during the development.
Yeah,
you just update.
I mean, we can update on the fly. We can do that, and no harm done, and that side of things. Whereas, you know, obviously, and that side of thing, and that's what's obviously, you know, one of the things that we're really hoping to build with Kickstarter is, is to create a community, because you have a lot of people who love gaming and want to be involved in it, and that's where Kickstarter has kind of lost its way a little. I think that it's become this pre-order site instead of a community of compassionate people who are like, we believe in your idea, your dream, let's make it happen together, not just where's my game. What do you mean I've got to pay, like taxes to bring it into the country and stuff like that?
It's like crazy.
We don't know. We've never made a game before. I'm sorry. It's
No. Well, look, I had a thought just now because I was recently at a convention in Manchester. I went to Tabletop Live, and I was there as a punter, not as a content creator. And I bought a mystery box, board game, mystery box from Zatu, and in it I got, I don't know where it is right now, but I got one of the exit games. One of these. These games where they're a one-hit wonder, and as much as I love them, you end up folding things or destroying elements, and you can't replay those elements. Now, I was like, how could you recharge this, and make it available and hand it over to a friend that's not played it and go, there you go, there's my game. I've put the recharge pack on it. It's available to play. And my thought was, well, why don't you have a PDF that they can release of the elements that recharge the game so you can share it with someone else? I mean, it probably goes against the company that makes that because they want to sell the units, but what if they did it as a print and play?
Makes sense. Definitely. Yeah. Funny story. One of the other projects I'm working on right now, I'll call it codename Sourdough for the moment, just because. So this is as great a time to tell the story as any. So this is Sunday at the Games Expo. And
so was this UK Games Expo?
Yeah, the UK Games Expo. Yeah. And some friends were giving some other friends Neil Patrick Harris's Box 1. And this is a wonderful sort of escape room, solve the box sort of game that you can completely reset. Nothing's destroyed, nothing gets added or, taken out. You could just reset the box, give it to a friend, and let them have that whole mystery and experience. So no spoilers here, but they absolutely love this idea. And I was like, well, what if we had a game like that, wherein you have the whole escape room experience, and then when you're done, you write your score, your time in the box, and then you add a twist for the next person that plays it. Maybe you add a hint, maybe you take a hint out, maybe you change something, maybe you make it harder, make it easier. Obviously this is just early concept right now. Nothing's really been created. But now that Essen's over, and now that a lot of the pitching stuff is done, I finally have some time to actually go back and make some games. So this is one of the ideas I'm really excited to kind of dig into.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. He's working on something else.
Yeah, and of course, you think a sourdough. You receive the sourdough from your friend, you feed it, and then a few days later, you pass it on to someone else. Yeah. So that sort of. Just
not that I've ever done that with sourdough personally, but I never knew you did that with sourdough until I saw a video on TikTok, ironically.
There you go.
It's crazy, feeding the sourdough. No, I like that idea, and I think I print and plays are seeing more and more. And it's nice to see them not just being that plucky little sidekick that goes along someone else's Kickstarter and actually being their own thing, because they need to be. And there's lots of reasons for it, not just your game, but you've got, the thing we just discussed, having exit games being able to be print and play rather than, so you can share the experience. And I don't think it would stop people from buying them either. People would still buy them. So...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one thing that comes up a lot with print and plays, why isn't this just like the free sort of thing? You already touched on that, Chris, but I come back to being a full game that you're getting with all the art, with all the stuff that comes along with it.
I mean, I'm interested. I want to. You've all had a part in this, but how do you feel about this, Roque, from a marketing perspective? Because of course it's a different beast.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I know we already did talk a lot about like, the reason for print and plays, but that's kind of like while I was outlining and writing the Kickstarter, that's one thing that we wanted to focus on. And, obviously there's been other projects over the last year or two that have, done similar things. And yeah, I think for us, it's really about that, like getting, we have a couple of like core tenets to like no box games, right? Which Chris had approached us with the idea for it. But one of those was, yeah, getting people the game as quick as possible, getting it everywhere without worrying about like shipping costs and everything that comes with that, because, the just having to pay for that stuff, like from a
Yeah.
consumer standpoint, but
Yeah.
also, you know, obviously we touched on it, was getting it everywhere without having to worry about like, okay, you're going to have to pay like these, other fees on top of the shipping to worry about getting it into your country, or your country is going to take, X amount of time. And for us, it was really about how can we make like the best game possible and get it out as quickly as possible, where it's still like not just like, oh, let's rush something out, right? But like the highest quality at the quickest we can get it to a customer. And so that's what appealed to me about actually joining, being a part of No Box Games, was that aspect of like we can actually focus on like the game part more and not so much on like production and like these other things that like, take away from that aspect. And so in marketing it, as far as like I said, a lot of it has been like kind of on the Kickstarter page. It's been kind of doubling down on those points of like, this is why, we started as a company. This is who we are. This is what we plan to do, not only with this game, but with future games. And, a lot of the marketing efforts, most of them I feel like have been shared through all of us. We haven't necessarily done anything that's like Facebook ads or anything. I have a background with like Facebook ads, so I have a lot of
I was going to
experience
ask
there.
about you about that. So you kind of touched on it.
Yeah. So like,
how do you think that's going to work for this then?
I mean, honestly, we'll probably run some ads once it launches. I think our goal kind of for this was more about, let's put it out and see what it does, right? Like, instead of like really doing a ton in the I guess like pre-marketing, running a bunch of ads, because it's like we could, but at the same time, it's like a print and play. It's like a smaller project. We hope it does well and does successful, but you can't, when it comes to like running the numbers, it's like you can't really spend like 5, 10, 20 bucks, or for somebody to like sign up or make a purchase when the average purchase value is going to be $5 or $4 in this case. So that's one thing when it comes to ads. Really, it's been, getting people into the group, getting people to see what we're all about. And then from there, now that we have our Kickstarter pre-launch page, we're sending people there. And yeah, I mean, it's been cool. I'm really excited for the project. I've been doing, what I can. We've been all shared with it. Like, Christian will do like some amazing artwork, and then I'll like take that, I'll steal that, and I'll like post it on like my personal page and get it, into like, I don't know, I have a couple of thousand Facebook friends, so it's like I post it there, and that kind of drums up some interest. And so
yeah,
we've been doing a lot of that. Artwork helps, honestly.
Oh,
artwork
definitely
really does help. And I wanted to touch on that, because what was your inspiration behind the artwork for this? Did you have anything that really kind of struck you when you saw the original kind of concept and game from Chris?
Well, this is the sort of the funny thing, really, is that that I really wanted to make a spy game before I'd even spoken to Chris. So it was like, it was
really?
almost like,
That was meant to be
eureka moment. Yeah, exactly. It's sort of this and that sort of thing. It was I'd been thinking of how, or like what kind of game to make within a spy theme. And I'd already sort of defined a character style with another game that I'd made previously, and And
Oh,
it was
shout
just
it out! Shout it out! It's called Escape from Flat Earth, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, Escape from Flat Earth, and it was something that it's yeah, it was like I finally found my style, and within that, it was just like it was great to see how we could play with, spies and that sort of thing. Yeah, because I
And
mean,
it's
I love
got
the whole
the
spy.
cool flip box as well. Yeah.
We're not talking. It does. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's
that's not what
so
we're talking about right
modest,
now.
isn't he?
No, but it's does.
Don't
Yeah,
be
it was great.
modest.
I'm so proud of that game. It was.
I'm
I mean, it was.
googling it and I'm looking at it later, so I imagine
Oh
it's
yeah,
my
don't worry. Yeah,
list.
we'll post a link up or whatever. But I mean, for that, it was that was a solo campaign on Kickstarter, and I'm so glad that I have two others to share this, like this time the route with, and that's the thing. And but I think yeah, when it came to it, we went through a couple of iterations. I think we sketched out some ideas and saw what stuck. And yeah, it was one of those things that just I think when you pick a theme like Spies, I mean, everyone has different generations of that, sort of like some people would be, like James Bond, some people would be Mission Impossible, some people would be, all sorts of weird and ideas and stuff like that. And it's like, and obviously there's so many reboots and things like that. So we picked an era that we felt had that sort of generic appeal, and we just had fun with it. Really, I think that was the most thing. It was like we were having fun, and it was like much like Roque was saying, is let's just see what happens. What fits for people, what they take up. Because I think I know it's not quite about the graphic design, but it was something that's sort of been floating around my head. Is that, and again, it's sort of much in the marketing side of things, is that this is a time to start educating people that P&P, you're getting a whole game. It doesn't look like a whole game because it's not got a box. It's not got a rule book like 100 pages long and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's still a whole game. It's this whole game just on but it's in its most.
And think about the amount of space all these games behind me would take if they were print and plays. They'd take one section of the Kallax, and I could have so many more games.
Exactly. In fact, I've almost want to start using the term print at home games instead of print and play games, because again, with all respect, print and play games, they're amazing. They're often less art. They're often free. By trying to almost brand them as print at home games, that's kind of an acknowledgement that these are different from your traditional print and play games.
Exactly.
I don't know how well
print at home games.
Exactly. No idea how well that'll catch on, but that's obviously something to try to work on as we grow this thing.
Yeah, well, I think it's there's a level of education, and like you say, like when it comes to Kickstarters, a lot of people back at the print and play level because that's all they ever want, and it's not an issue for them. But then we need to now sort of start getting people into the idea that it's not just about that community. We need to sort of say, it's like, you like gaming, we've got a game for you here, and it's just hand it out.
Here we go. So Joe Paul says, I like print at home instead of print and play. Print and play sounds like you print it and then get rid of it after you play it. That's just me though. And yes, I get that kind of vibe with it as well. And I think print at home is a much nicer term. So yes, we need to start using this term instead. So if people on TikTok and all the relevant social media, if you like this, let's make this a hashtag a real thing. Print at home games. Come on, folks. They're more it's more specific. So I do want to say thank you very much for guys coming on the show, because it's been actually really interesting chat and a really interesting conversation. Not just talk about your project, but talking about print at home games in general.
That's it.
But a couple of little things before we we finish the show for the day. So I like to finish on what games are you guys playing at the moment yourselves? So is there a game that's kind of really piqued your interest, or you're obsessed with at the moment? What are they, other than your own, of course?
I've been meaning to get Quirkle to the table. One of the few games I actually picked up at Essen was Splendor Duo, and like they spent thousands of euros to get like 10 tables shown, but they only had like 100 copies a day to sell. I think these are airlifted there, so
Wow.
that game will be coming out soon. But that's something one I bought to try to play with my wife soon.
Okay, lovely. What about yourself, Christian?
Well, yeah, I mean my gaming table is basically manned by my children, so a lot of we play sort of less mature games as they're 10 and 8.
That's fine. They're still
But
board games.
but that's it. Well, yeah, exactly. No, I mean we play a lot of real-time games. I think a certain favorite at the moment is 5 Minute Dungeon. We've got back to that.
Yeah,
That sort of
Yeah,
thing, because
5 Minute
it's like,
Dungeons it is really good fun.
it's really good, and when you've got sort of the attention span of an 8-year-old, you need to keep things going. And real-time games like that, I really love the fact that you're all playing, and especially when you can be collaborative as well. So I think that's probably being played quite a bit at the moment when we're when we're not talking about our own games.
Fantastic. Rocky, what about yourself?
Yeah, so the latest game that I kind of like have been getting into has actually been Marvel United. So
nice.
yeah, I've been loving that one. I got here we go. If we can get him in there. There we go.
Yeah, nice.
A Hulk miniature that I was painting. But yeah, I mean that one, it's like one of those games. It's like I had seen it and I was like, okay, this looks, because I've been playing what is it, Marvel Champions, the Fantasy Flight games. And so I'd been playing that, and that game's great, but I played one day solo for like 4 hours and I lost, and I was like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to play this long and like lose a game and all that. And so I was like, let me check out like what other, games are out there. And Marvel United had came up, and I was like, okay, let me just pick up like the base box, because it was like super cheap. So picked it up, and it's one of those things that it's like, oh, you get the first box and you're like, oh man, I want to buy, because they had that massive Kickstarter, and it's like, I want to get everything. I want to get like all 100 characters or whatever. But
this is the one by Simon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm not going to get on to Simon, but hey ho, I will get off my high horse about Simon one day. I've been playing Cosmoctopus.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh my God, is it amazing? I absolutely love it. Really have.
Nice.
I've had the preview copy because this is not out yet. It's coming to Kickstarter in the coming months. But basically, you play Cosmoctopus. The inky realm, the theme. It's an engine builder designed by Henry Oberdon, and let's face it. It takes over viticulture, I'm afraid.
Wow.
I used to like viticulture, but this is my new favorite. And there's a full review going to be coming to the website very soon. So if you haven't played it, have you played? Any of you guys played it yet at a con?
No, I want to. Was it on display being demoed at Essen?
I believe so. I believe they're at Essen. They're also at UK Games Expo.
Okay.
Because there are so Paperfork Games were on the Stone Sword stand, because they're a subsidiary, they're a sister brand.
And obviously with Henry, if you liked parks or trails, this is going to be right up your alley as well, because he's got a really classic.
And he's a friend of the show. We're hoping to get him on in the new year, all being well and good.
Oh, that'd be awesome. He's got a really classic, awesome, elegant style to all of the stuff he's made.
Yeah, he's made some amazing things. Right, so look, we've got one last question from the internet. We're from YouTube. We've got David Newton with a quick question, and he wants to know, how do you guys test your games? Go on then.
Yeah.
Last question.
And I'll start with this one by saying, full disclosure, I'm the co-creator of Virtual Playtesting, which is an online Discord community of designers testing their games. They meet Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. UK time. And obviously it's great to playtest with designers because they're really good at poking holes, finding loopholes, breaking games. And then you also want to try to play test with players any chance you can. So anytime you can get a playtest in, it's almost always a good time. Yeah. So a lot of the playtesting we did in virtual playtesting and remote playtesting, a very similar sort of group that runs Tuesdays and Saturdays,
Okay.
based in New York. But the virtual world is not a substitute for the real world. It's just a great way to connect with designers from around the world.
Exactly. And I agree with you there, because as much as I love, virtual, tabletop simulators and, all these different ones that are available, there's nothing quite like having a dead tree format of physically holding something.
Exactly. Yeah, like you sometimes talk about how it's almost like 2 layers of abstraction. You've got the fact that it's in the virtual world, and it's also with designers. And of course, when we're playtesting a game, for the purpose of playtesting, we're not playing the game in the same way. So it's really important to remember that it has its purpose, but it's not all of the playtesting that needs to be done.
Yeah.
You still have to find the fun in all this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then,
Well, look, we've had some
was gonna
amazing
say-
questions.
Oh.
Go on.
And just being the nature of our games, right, where it's like they're print and play, that also allowed us to like all kind of test out the game with our own groups, like really easy. We didn't have to like make a production copy and like share that around or send it to each other. It was just like, okay, let's print out the sheet. Oh, we made this change, right? Like let's print out that sheet and then test it with our groups at home. And so
Exactly.
that really allowed like for getting in front of different types of players as well, instead of just online or just
And
Chris testing it. So
you can also play it distant as well, can't you? You don't have to be in the same room.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, that's
One
it.
thing I like, I
Well,
noticed
that's it.
about
It's the only way that we can play together. It's the fact,
Yeah.
it's like, so the fact that we've all 3 of us still played our game together, even though we've never been in the same room as each other. So it's made a big difference.
It's amazing what people can come together over the internet and do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really
You
is.
can test it, I think, just like I'm thinking, but I think you could almost test it just no video, right? Like you could play the game over phone almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
And the only thing
Yeah.
you really need at the end is just some way to see your target's sheet
Yeah.
to know which rooms were sabotaged successfully. And you could even do that over voice as well. So I sabotaged this room. Did you go to this room? Yes or no? I did.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I'll score some points on that. So
Yeah.
it'd be a little bit more involved, but it's really possible to do that even then. And
Yeah.
this is also the sort of game you can mark it up on a computer screen. If you want to play this in Microsoft Paint, you certainly could.
Yeah. You could also make a very simple app with it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's some lots of potential for Spies. And I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's amazing. I love the concept, and I'm looking forward to getting the review done and ready to go online, ready for the Kickstarter for you guys.
Awesome.
So it's out in the ether with the team, because I don't know how many of you are aware. I know Chris is aware, but it's not just me that's part of Diary of a Lincoln Geek. I may be the face quite often, particularly when it comes to the TikTok account, but it's not just me. We have a team. We have 9 reviewers altogether. And of course, our amazing editorial team, which is George and Suey. So, some of the content that churns out of Diary of a Lincoln Geek is amazing. And if you aren't checking it out, then you need to be. So get on that website. But no, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't believe where, nearly an hour's gone. And I'm having to kind of wrap up the show. But the last couple of little things for everyone who's aware, the Kickstarter link's currently on screen. But of course, you can also go to the website, which is noboxgames.com/spies. And the Discord link is on there as well. That's really, thank you everyone on the internet. I'm glad you've enjoyed the show. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, subscribe, hit that like button, share. You know the drill. You all know about how these things work on the internet. So share it, give it some love. Also, if you aren't familiar, we are also on a Patreon. We've just set that up, and we also have a Ko-fi link. If you don't want to do a regular monthly Patreon donation to the channel, then please do head over to Ko-fi and buy us a cup of coffee. Yeah, a cup of coffee goes a long way, particularly when we're at a convention. So, Yeah, we all know, especially when you're at Spiel and you have like 40 odd appointments.
Yeah, I was trying to get a
Don't do that.
coffee any chance I could. So
I bet
I
you
have a
were.
coffee.
I bet you were. But no, it's been absolute pleasure chatting to you. Just as we go, I am quickly just going to quickly say thank you again. It's been lovely, and hopefully we'll get you on the show again nearer the Kickstarter, Chris. How's that sound?
Yes, sounds great.
Yeah, and so I guess real quick, and maybe that was coming, but launch date.
Yes. When
Yeah,
is the launch date?
yeah. So we're launching
17th.
Monday. Yeah, the
Monday.
17th.
Wow.
So, yeah, if we get on the show again, or if Chris gets on the show again, probably be, I would think, probably like mid-campaign or before the campaign ends or something. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
mid-campaign.
As you can have us, myself, any of us, really.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You know, we've got a lot going on over the next few months. You know, the next show. So obviously the shows commence on the first Thursday of each month. Normally, the schedule kind of broke a little bit because you know of people's commitments regarding Spiel, and let's face it, we knew it too. So we made some changes this month. But next month we're back on schedule, first Thursday of the month, 8:30 each time, all being well and good. But we've got some extra ones cropping up here and there because we're popular apparently. People like the show. We're in demand. So we're going to be, sticking some more in the schedule. So keep an eye out. But next month we are chatting to Games by Mondo, Becky from the designer of Rainbow Bunny Bot. These games that are currently all over TikTok. They're our friends from TikTok. So we're doing a TikTok show special. So we're going to be chatting with them. And then hopefully we're going to have the Christmas special near Christmas. And then in the new year, we've got an even more amazing show. We're doing a launch party Kickstarter style with Richard Lawton from the designer of Crown of Ash. And we're going to be having a very special guest on the show. Someone from your realm over in the US, Grant Lyon. It will be joining the show at the same day. And we're going to be having some laughs and talking about board games. It's going to be amazing.
Nice.
So, yeah, very exciting. So head on over to that website if you aren't already checking it out. It's there on the website. It's the longer one to type, but if you want typing a bit shorter, then just hit DOALG into your search engine and we should be at the top.
Nice.
But thanks again. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. You can all take care, stay safe, and keep gaming, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
all right, yeah, thank you for having us.
Very
Bye.